Keep it the fresh can.
Hi everyone.
Hi everybody. Hi Richard. Hi James.
It's all working.
Mate? You all right, Rich?
Yeah, good. Thanks. Good. Thanks.
Good.
Thanks for
We're live. Good. We're on. I've got the signal on the YouTube.
Rich, over to you.
Right. I'm just gonna turn off all the other. I was just checking it was doing Twitch and Facebook, so I've just turned them off now. I was getting 3 of you lot talking at the same time. So cool. But yeah, thanks for joining us.
You're welcome. One of me's too many.
So yeah, I mean, basically, it's just to get together, a bit of a chat. Talk about retro. Have a few Pepsi Maxes, which I noticed.
He's nicked my supply, hasn't he?
So what we do first is just some introductions. We got James from the Game Zone Dog Room. And we got Retro Robbins from the Retro Robbins Show.
He's from the Dog Room and I'm barking mad.
What a team. What a team.
Oh, it's a link.
You picked some right ones, Rich.
I know. It was like I needed more than one person, really, just because I'd look a bit boring on my own. So grabbed the 2 nearest people and yeah, you agreed. No, that's cool. Thanks for doing that.
No problem. You're welcome anytime.
No. Enjoying this. Been looking forward to it.
Yeah, it's been quite months in the making, really.
It certainly has, mate. It really has.
And things have got on top of us. I mean, like COVID, and I've been testing other means of doing it. And then I thought, just do it. And it, it's like you said, is just get it done. See how it looks. If it's good, it's good. If it's not, then it's not. Who cares, But yeah. So what are you been up to this week?
The thing with this COVID really is people have obviously been able to stay more times, and a lot of people have probably dug out more of their old retro and gone through it, haven't they, sort of thing? Because if you've been furloughed and you're stuck at home, you're going to go and visit these things that you've left in the loft or in the back. So you've just take the Spectrum Next campaign, for instance. Look at the way that was shot off. Wonder how much of that was actually responsible to people being furloughed, because we wasn't sure when there was going to be a Kickstarter, and that happened in the middle of furlough, didn't it, really, if I remember rightly?
Yeah, and it's like you say, and people have started YouTube channels, because I think a lot of what I do is really to combat the crap that's going on. It's quite therapeutic, to play text adventures and what have you, and streaming games and that kind of thing. It's good for.
We can just lose yourself, can't you?
Yeah, totally. And you forget about the outside world when you're looking at the camera or looking at the game. I've just noticed actually we've got another guest has arrived, and it's Adam.
Hello there.
Hello, how you doing, guys?
Adam,
how we doing?
He's copied me haircut.
Good.
Oh, mate, look at it! It's going around.
By choice. Mine's by.
It's a lot longer now from the lockdown.
Oh, is it? Yeah, no bother. I can imagine. Nice to see you, Adam.
Yeah, nice to see you guys. How you all doing?
Everyone's got headsets.
Well, I thought I'd try and look a bit professional.
They're more professional than us, mate. That's what it is.
No,
but it is. I can't get one to fit over the size of these ears.
Whatever works,
I can't really see you. See, I'm not wearing the glasses, look, but the problem I've got is if the glare of it is right where my pupils are, look. So I look like I've got.
Oh yeah,
It's like
God.
robotic eyes. So I just,
Do you want to know?
they're not really
do you wanna know-
working.
Do you want to know a
I
trick?
don't want to see my ugly mug anyway.
If you put if you put your glasses on but look down slightly, it gets rid of the glare. I don't know if you notice. I think it's look down. I'm sure it is. Look slightly down, so we can tell you basically. Yeah, if you're looking that way, if you go down there, that's fine.
It's a great idea, mate. I like your optimism. I might not be thanking you in the morning when I've got like
I
a
was going to say
repetitive strain injury of the neck. But
Adam,
yeah.
you missed one thing though.
What's that?
Have you brought your Pepsi Max with you?
No, but I've got a coffee. I've
Got
got
no.
a tea.
Pepsi
Oh.
Max. This is the Pepsi Max Club.
I don't think I've got one. My kid loves that drink as well, so I normally get one of those. Oh man, yeah. I caught the back end of your conversation. So yeah, this year's a weird one, isn't it? It's starting to. I've had a week this week where this is a good conversation because I just needed to let some steam off, really, just have a general chat with the world.
We just got a highlight.
That's what it's for. It doesn't have to be strictly retro. You know, we're just easy, whatever. Moan about, people not wearing masks, for example. You know, that kind of thing.
To be fair, I've not found anything different about lockdown due to the fact that I'm a key worker, so I've worked literally all the way through it.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
fair play to you. Yeah, you've probably come across some busy and tough times.
Yeah, it was very tough in the care home I work with, but I work at. But you know, we got through it, you know, and we see light at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah. I want to talk to some of the guys we've got in chat, but I can't. How do you do this chat malarkey?
Right.
I'm trying to. We've got Chris in the chat, and
Can you
Michelle
right,
and-
okay, this is a testing.
You should have a window. Well, I've got a window by the side of it.
Can you see? You can see the comments come up, can't you,
I
on
can.
your screen? Can you
Yes.
hover over them and does it say show?
No.
Or at the bottom, does it say post a comment?
No.
No, okay, so that's just something for me. So
all right.
it's
Yeah,
kind of
you're the
yeah.
It's for you, really, isn't it, Richard? So yeah.
If you want to say,
Oh, no worries.
if you see something you want to say to somebody, you see James managed to reply. Did you reply from the actual stream itself?
No, I've done it from a blower.
Oh yeah, but from the. Are you in
I put
Yeah, I've got the stream running as well. so.
Okay. So you need the stream running, yeah. Oh, that's
right.
weird. That's weird seeing that.
No
I like
worries.
seeing my face. I can see it 3 times now.
Oh, is that not scary?
Oh, Chris is doing his timing test. So, puppy, he's giving me a keyword to say.
Oh, there we go. Yeah. But if there's anything you want to say, if you see anything that Adam, that you want to reply to, then please do. Just like
Yeah, no worries.
Yeah.
Puppies.
So you want me to start and tell you a bit about my show and I'll for people out there?
Yes, introduce.
Yeah, go for it.
Okay, I'll do that. Started my show about 4 months ago, and what it was is there's a lot of YouTube channels, obviously the Spectrum. You've got Noel's Retro Lab, which is great. They do that sort of thing. You've got Nostalgia Nerd. You've got Yambita. And each one will do their own different type of flavours. But a lot of them are more serious on that sort of programs, giving you
Documentarians.
Yeah, more documentaries, especially Nostalgia Nerd. He's great. Don't get me wrong, he's brilliant in what he does. But he talks about Commodores and other computers more than the Spectrum. And I just wanted to go back, re-review some of the games that we used to play as children, or some of us have missed and would like to see again, bring them up to date, get them back out there for the retro communities who might have missed them the first time round, and have a bit more fun, because, I think we had the 100th episode of the come up of the Spectrum show, isn't it, which was good. But, yeah, and he plays a few modern games, so I thought I'd do that for the community. And there's a bit more variety in mine because I do a bit on the soldering side and stuff like that. And hopefully it's entertaining. But, it's a little bit of fun for people to have a look at, especially at the end of a working week or during the midweek. And it's had a better response than I thought. But it's not meant to be a professional sort of thing, guys. Do you know what I mean? It's more a bit of light entertainment. So, what do you think?
Yeah,
You're nodding your heads, but no answers.
I've
That's sitting on the fence.
Your channel. I've not seen your channel, mate, so I will subscribe to it.
Have a look. Yeah, it's as I say, a lot of it is just run off a mobile phone. You know, so
Pretty like my channel, really. I mean, I produce a lot of shit that I put on YouTube. People seem to enjoy it, which is good.
Because let's be honest,
That's the
boys,
thing, it's not. None of it's rubbish. Do you know what I mean? None of it is.
It's all entertaining. I think it's
too
great.
kind, Rich. You're too kind, mate.
And you say the mobile phone. The mobile phone's one of the best cameras. There's a bit of software you can use to have your mobile phone as a camera, and I've managed to get it to work a couple of times, and then my son's always using it to play Among Us, so I never get near my mobile phone anymore.
Yeah,
but basically, when I can use it, it's a great camera. It's way better than my webcam.
It's easy to do that because you can download a program called Dual Camera from the Play Store, from Google Play. You can also download Intro Maker,
Right.
and you can also download Studio. You can edit and put your own. So basically, from a mobile phone, but you're not actually using the capability of your mobile phone. You're using the capability of the servers at the other end. They do all that for you. If you'd like to have a look, I'll show you the way. Shall I show my setup? Shall I?
Yeah,
Share
go on,
it out.
Got a
Give me
camera,
a second. Well, I just changed to the mobile camera,
walkabout camera. Yeah.
and there's my setup.
Blimey. That's
Right.
a bit more pro than I've got. Plus, mine's in the shed, so I'm not even in it.
Retro. There's me station. But if you look at there, can you see that little device that goes across that harness? Right, I'll show you.
Yes.
That is something I've made. I'm going to walk around and show you now.
This is great. I love everybody's like man caves.
Up and down, and you just wheel it over to in front of the set, like so, and that's my camera system. So there's my camera.
That's it.
That's it. It's as simple as that.
That's all
And
you
it's
need.
all on a mobile phone, and I've got the power supply for the phone. I've also got a microphone that I should shove in there. Yeah, I better change that back. But
So is that on a swing? Is it?
pardon, sorry.
Is that on a swing? You just swing it round?
It's a piece of wood on a rail, like a rail that you put in the a door. You know, the sliding doors.
Yeah.
And that is actually that bar coming down is actually for one of them selfie cameras. You know, them camera sticks that extend. Yeah. Well, I've just took the top off, screwed it down at the top so as I can pull it up and down. Do you know what I mean?
It's really clever.
Yeah, it's simple, but you know, I've been watching too much of Ivan.
Ingenuity during the lockdown.
Yeah, obviously had too much time on my hands and I, so you know. But,
Do you film you and the screen at the same time?
yes,
You know what I mean? Do you have like a front and a back camera?
I'll film it in 10-minute sections. That's why sometimes you get me go into the next section, sort of thing. But I film it in little 10-minute blocks, and then I just edit the blocks together. You know, towards the end, and I sort of try and get a format for the show. I've tried sort of putting games with great demos on, so I call it the Hall of Greatness of demo games. You know, games that had a demo in them. And now I've got a new feature which is called Commodore versus Spectrum.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, this is prize open them wounds. But no, I will be taking I could be biased. I could be all Spectrum, but I'm not going to. I'm going to actually be fairly judging it, which is something I'll be pretty good at, to be honest. My last show, I've got the Commodore versus Spectrum, and it was. If for those of people, this is a bit of a spoiler alert. It was the game Antiriad. We've all seen the game Antiriad on the Spectrum. Yeah?
Yeah.
We played it, which is the isometrical game, 3D, which is like a spider that launches.
Yes. Yes, now you've described it, yes.
Yeah. Well, that game is quality, especially the 128K sound on the Spectrum. It's spooky. It's got an atmosphere to it. You know, it feels otherworldly. It's a bit of escapism. But if you used to play the same game on the Commodore, it's almost a completely different game. Yet it's meant to be the same game. Because on the Commodore, it's face down. It's 2D, not 3D. On the Spectrum, it's 3D. So, obviously, we compare the same game on the two different consoles. And, of course, I got told off for saying the word console. Because I preferred... Yeah, somebody said, Peter from ZX, and you said, it's a computer. But have you heard the term computer console before? We've all said...
Yeah, it's a home computer.
Looking up what a console is. A console is something you can put a cartridge in, really, isn't it? So a Spectrum, where you put a peripheral in the back, is a console. It's a computer console because it's an expandable device. So
go on then. It's locked down. It's 2020. Anything goes. I'll go with you. I'm with you.
Thanks. My excuse, and I'm sticking to it. But yeah.
Seems like we got a lot of comments coming up as well. Apparently it was Amorite. Amarote.
Amarotti.
Amarotti.
Yeah. He's got the right spelling, which is
not
unlike me.
Yeah.
I use predictive text and forget to edit it out afterwards, and so I get it all wrong. Do you know when you type a word in, it gives another word, but you've already launched it? And, or sometimes I press the mic where you're speaking to the mic and it writes the words for you, and I just launch it away. And before I haven't checked it, it doesn't understand yam yam, so it's comes up with a complete different sentence sometimes. So I have to check it, but it's just being lazy, to be fair. But I mean, it's one of those things. It's where modern technology gets up your ass, gets up your, gets in your way, basically. It makes things a little bit too easy.
Yeah.
So I presume that you've
technology is brilliant until it fucks up.
Let's be honest. I'll put this to you, guys. If you've got a laptop you bought, say, 15 years ago, right? You've probably got to take it apart to put some more thermal paste between the master chip and the heatsink, because it dries out, it goes powdery. So the laptops overheat as they get older. But Spectrums don't die, do they? All you've got to choose, these are 40-year-old technology, still running today. As long as you change the electrolytic capacitors in them, there's no reason why they should, and check out your power supply. I mean, if you buy a power supply now, it's just better regulated.
It's the
power that was made on the cheap,
and
I'm still going. You can say that a lot of the
boot faster, crash less. They don't update every 25 minutes like Windows.
Has any of you got a mobile phone?
What I found really annoying about my Spectrum I used to own, and especially I used to love Roger Black Running.
Yeah.
A real classic game, and you load it up. It takes about 20 minutes to load up. You press one button, and that's it. You got to load it up again.
That was a fun, wasn't it?
You get that on your marks, get set, go, and you press that button, ready to get a good time, and that's it. Fuck sake, that took me 20 minutes to load up.
And there wasn't even any cartridge, was there, on the Spectrum? That came
there was a peripheral you stuck in the back which had two joysticks, and you had a cartridge, but you had to buy the cartridge games.
Wasn't that many
coming out? So
but the Spectrum had a micro drive.
Yeah, you could also have the micro. The micro drive was, okay, but a lot of people didn't have the ability to put because there wasn't games released, really, wasn't that many games released on micro drive for you to load into your Spectrum. Supposing you had a vintage game like Alvida Saint Monty.
The micro drive, wasn't that more for just saving stuff?
Yeah, it's more for saving stuff.
Yeah.
Until you've got the multi-phase 128 and multi-phase 1 where you could press the button on the top. They had the facility to save to micro drive. So you could basically take a snapshot of your game and save that to micro drive. And as long as you've got that peripheral plugged into the back, because I think it was the multi-phase 128, you plugged that in, but it had an edge connector after that, which you could plug the micro drive in, because that's obviously where the micro drive was plugged into. So, yeah. Yeah, sure.
So it's a third-party company took over those, didn't they? Because the original, well, obviously, they created them predominantly for the QL, and then they got adopted slightly for the Spectrum. But then and they weren't very good. The performance of them wasn't very good. But then a third-party company, I forget the name, but a third-party company took over the microdrives, and they actually got pretty good. By that point, it was too late. But it's a bit of a shame.
Yeah.
But
Didn't Amstrad buy out Spectrum?
Yeah, unfortunately.
they did, but not the QL, which is weird, like I found out.
No, he dropped that line. He cut that line
Yeah.
straight. Just to be fair, it wasn't backwards compatible with everything that was on the Spectrum, which is what people were interested in, really. Nobody seriously wanted to use the QL for business, did they? Do you know what I mean? Especially when you got the Apple Macintosh that had just come out and and those sorts of systems, which were way superior. You see, Sir Clive wanted a budget one, didn't he, for business users to use? But if you've got a business, you went for the ones that was going to be the best for the job, that was more used globally. So, it was another one of...
that little car messed him up, didn't he? He put so much money into it.
Thing is, though, he's a little bit ahead of schedule, isn't he?
I always think that. You know, when I always see the videos and everyone's ripping into the car and stuff, and then I see the next advert and it's like Honda, the new electronic car coming out. And it's like, mate, you were just 40 years ahead.
Sinclair C5 by Sir Clive Sinclair. His electric car. They called it the Hedgehog because people could run it over if you wasn't careful. That had some serious problems in it because it only came with one standard seat position. So the different sized people, and of course you put your hands underneath your legs to steer it, sort of thing. It was mad. It was just, but in fairness, a bit of that technology was taken through and people have used in Motability scooters today. These old people have won these Motability scooters you see everywhere. So really, they've got what Sinclair C5 was trying to do. But they've had to get it.
Batteries, wasn't it?
The batteries are better. That was the main thing. But yeah.
Oh, he was definitely forward thinking.
He was too far forward thinking.
But like Sega with the Dreamcast. That was a system well ahead of its time.
I had that. I had one of them. And there was always that thing about what bit was it? And that was when the bits were just starting to taper off a little bit, having had the bit wars. And then, but that was kind of touted as either 128-bit or more if you read the right literature. But yeah, that was the graphics on it were unbelievable.
Bit processor in it, didn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
So,
and they still do only have that. And that's a really weird thing. Is some of them now aren't that much further ahead? Because I'm always, when I talk to my kids about it, I'm trying to sort of talk about this 16-bit lineage, and then they're like, well, what must the PS4 be? And I'm straight away I start thinking, well, it must be a gigabit or whatever. But they're like, it turns out no, it's not. It's like just 64 or whatever. But it's the other tech around it.
It's the number of cores as well, I think. CORES.
Yeah, that's like the Next, isn't it? It's like same with the Next. The Next is 8-bit, but it can do all its other trickery because of all the other tech that's in there.
Bits is you get 8 bits in one byte, obviously, and the more bits you can get in that byte, the more you can do in that one particular line. We went to 16-bit, then to 32 bits, and if you want to know what the best way to look at a bit is, when you press, say, on a multiface and you go to the hex, you got 8 lines of code before you get 1 byte, and obviously, imagine if you can double that 16, you can do a lot more in 1 byte. And if you can get 32, you can do a lot more. So that's the way the bits sort of worked. And
I think the Spectrum as well has got hasn't it got 16-bit registers?
Yeah, the Spectrum actually had 16K RAM chips in them, didn't they? And only half of them was neutralized or something because they was faulty. So Sinclair got on the cheap basically from Texas Instruments. So yeah, because I think the upper RAM was 16K chips as opposed to 8K each chip. But only 8K was neutralized because the other 8 was faulty ones. So but that's the way that Sir Clive cut costs, because what he created with the Spectrum was a budget computer for, you know, for us all really, before computers were a thing. So yeah.
And it's also interesting to know that
so many corners, it's scary. For instance, do you know the edge connector on the Spectrum?
Yeah.
Which is just on circuit board stuff, was actually a money-saving thing, because normally you'd have a connection block in there and then the edge connection shoved in. But instead of putting the edge connection block in there, he just left the circuit board with traces on it. So whoever produced peripherals had to put their edge connector on it and charge it to save money, really.
There you go.
So, you know, it was those, you know, if he could, Sir Clive Sinclair, as you would say, if he could use one resistor or capacitor less, he would. So that's the way he got a budget computer. I mean, I like the rubber keyboard, but that was a money-saving thing as well, using, you know.
If you try using the rubber keyboard now, it kills your fingers as well. I don't know if you noticed.
I
It's
don't know.
almost like,
Used to
It
it.
did make it unique, though.
yes.
Oh, absolutely. The design made it unique, though, didn't it?
Yeah.
Big space bar at the bottom, but then put in the side, and then you got 3 or 4 different functions on each key. I feel it was pretty good for typing programs in where you didn't have to program PRINT. You just press one button, it came in one section, and it made it easy for basic programming, I felt. Not everyone agrees with that.
I used to love programming games on it. Never did one of my games work. I program on it. I used to love doing it.
Yeah. Thing is, though, by those, say, I think it was Sinclair Programs used to put a game in every week or a couple of games in that you could program in yourself. From that, you learned the way the games were constructed.
Yeah. They were brilliant.
It's in other words, when you're a child and you've got like a little square thing and you've got the triangle, the circle, you're learning what fits into what block. Kids don't understand how games are constructed now. They've got a program all there, an operating system helping them design it, but they don't know the code behind all that, do they? Do you know what I mean? From the basics. So
I can't remember. Didn't they used to, in their magazine, always used one line that was wrong, so you would have to try and figure out yourself?
I don't think that was deliberate. but it was, you're right. You're technically correct.
The biggest problem was printing errors, wasn't it? You get a print error that missed a comma out or something like that, and you wondered why it wouldn't enter. Because stuff like semicolon, you put a comma because the top bit's missing, and it wouldn't enter. And you're thinking, I'm following this program to exact. But until you got a little bit of knowledge of the basic itself, you could think, well, that must be wrong in the book. But you needed programs that worked. But with the Spectrum,
My dad thought I must have been a right pain in the ass for me, Dad, because if something didn't work, I'd say, Dad, come up here. So he'd travel all the way up to the loft. He spent about 2-3 hours looking at all this coding, and it could be something so simple. And he'd go, "Yeah, I've done it all for you."
Thanks, Simon. He's right. Simon Butler's just what? Bloody hell. A right naughty show here.
I should go through some of the comments actually, because I'm putting them on the screen, but we're not I didn't say anything back to them. Yeah, hi Simon.
Yeah,
Hi
he's
Chris.
great.
Hi Kate.
He's a great pixel artist, Simon, isn't he? For Ocean back in the day. And Simon, not to everyone's flavour, because he doesn't take fools lightly. He says it to you straight up.
He's great. He's got a
He
right
doesn't
sense of
fit a lot of people. I think. I'd like to
Amiga
say
old
we're
school.
friends with the Oliver twins, but not from the last stuff.
I tell you what we are missing, right? I always think this, right? There's loads and loads of. Maybe I'm going to get booed off the thing now, so I can already see Amiga coming up on the side with the chat. But I always think so. We basically picked all the machines that nobody else loved, I think. But basically, we had an Atari ST.
Oh yeah, brilliant.
Okay,
Oh.
right. So there's
yeah,
no
people
shows
already.
about them. There's no shows about them. Like for example, Dan Wood on his Kooky Tech, which is a brilliant show. But I mean, Dan's only down the road. He's in Nottingham. But he did. Obviously, he's heavily Commodore and Amiga. But then he did one on Atari ST. And again, I think like you mentioned nostalgia there, and I think Pete's done one. on Atari ST, but mostly again it's all Amiga. But I don't think there's anybody who actually just goes, I'm going to do ST and maybe a little bit of something else. But I might be saying something. But and the other thing that used to bug me was any time a TV show, because I thought the games on the ST were great, and I thought the graphics were great. But every time a TV program like Bad Influence would go, right, next week, guys, we're going to do a show on the ST, and you go, yeah, right, some games, and it'd always be bloody music. It's like, I don't want to see some poncy git in London playing some keyboard or something like that on a drum machine. I want to see the games, man. Show me the games. But nobody would ever do it. They'd always be like just focusing on the music. It just drives me nuts.
You've got all them games. Perhaps you should do that show. People might be get a following for it.
Well, yeah, I keep thinking about it, but the main thing is I got ST, so I have to emulate. But yeah,
but you're right. I suppose there was certain computers that showed a lot more than others, and there are documentaries on all of them, obviously, and YouTube is a great source of information. Not always correct information, obviously, but there's definitely a lot you can learn. I like watching Coding Along with Bradley's, which you can do. He does it every 2-week tutorial. He's doing the basic, and obviously what he's going to do is show you how to turn that basic program on the Spectrum Next into code eventually, and hopefully you'll learn by your mistakes on how to code, because obviously we all know the Z80 assembly language is just as tough as nails to learn. It's difficult, and for some coders they loved it and other coders hated it, but for someone like, you've all heard of Joffa Smith, the coder Joffa, they know him as doing a lot of games in the 80s for the Spectrum. He was a great coder. I think he was in the dungeons at Ocean, but he liked the Spectrum because he called it like a blank canvas, and anyone who don't like looking at a blank canvas to start programming on, they found a lot of coders found that quite daunting. So Joffa was quality. And all comments coming up. The Retro Engineer, that's you.
Yeah. I just thought I'd acknowledge the people watching because I haven't really gone back into the comments properly.
Yeah, well, I hope they're enjoying what they see, and if they can take part in the discussion, we'll try and.
I mean, I've been putting stuff up on the screen so people can see, the comments. But I mean, it's funny you mentioned the Amiga because we got Amiga Old School on at the moment.
Hello, Amiga Old School. How are you, mate?
He's on his ST.
You don't fancy switching to the ST, do you? No? Okay. Just thought I'd ask. You never know.
Oh, Cooper's
I'm
World,
optimistic.
Yeah. Cooper World, great channel. He needs more subs, so if anyone could go over to him and give him a sub, please do.
Yeah, and I'll make sure that all the links to everybody's channel is in the description afterwards.
I think we need it because I don't know what's happened with the YouTube algorithm, but basically it's like the tumbleweed effect. It's basically
I mean, we're pretty much in a niche anyway, But I think it's kind of
you
like
guys are more
PS5
the Spectrum generation, ain't you? See, my generation came on the 16-bit.
Yeah,
you're a youngster, aren't you?
I did start off with the Spectrum ZX 128K with a built-in tape cassette recorder, but I'm definitely more the 16-bit generation.
I've sort of gone through all the eras, boys, because I've started, from the Spectrum, I did move on to other computers. Obviously, when I got a Mega Drive, I thought that was amazing, and now it looks dated. And then I had a Game Gear, and I sort of moved on to the PlayStation 1. I remember when that first came out, and that was bought by my sister, thankful. Thanks, Susan. But yeah, that's sort of got. I mean, I've got a PlayStation. We all got PlayStations and Xboxes now, yeah. We've all got the latest tech. Well, when it comes to games, the PlayStation 4 to me is amazing. Completed, say, the last Tomb Raider, but I also find them a lot easier to play than the old games because the old games seem to be really hard.
Really tough. Really tough.
Yeah.
Because say even with the Tomb Raider game that I'm playing with Lara Croft's latest one, Shadow of the Tomb Raider, once you get over that section, but you start from where you finish, really, and you can carry on there. With the Spectrum, once you switch that power off, once you switched it back on, if you say if you're playing Manic Miner and you got to about the 10th screen, you lost all your lives on the 10th screen, you had to go through all 10 screens again instead of start from screen number 10. And if you had to power your computer off, go and have your dinner, come back, you'd have to load it, hopefully loads first time, and then work your way to the 10 screen, work out what to do. And it was a
password system.
You know, unless you was an absolute gaming genius, but yeah.
Didn't they have a password system?
Some games, yeah. Some games.
Yeah. So a lot of the SNES and the Mega Drive, they used to have like a password system, so you could go straight back into that level.
I don't remember any games. I had 8-bit in the 80s and 16-bit in the 90s, roughly. So I mean, I was born in '78, so I kind of missed the rubber key kind of 48K Auric Jupiter Cantab stuff. I kind of just missed that. And my first one was a 128, the +2 Spectrum. Sorry, no, I'm lying to you. I had a +4, then a Spectrum, then an Amstrad, then the Atari ST, then the PlayStation, and on from there. So, but yeah, I don't remember any of them having a password system.
A memory card used to slot in to save your game progress in the PlayStation. Now the consoles, you don't even need that; they save it for you. But I remember the PlayStation; you had to buy these little cartridges, these memory cards, and they used to slot into the front underneath the joystick, and you used to have to save your game progress there, and you could save a few before they was full up. But yeah,
one of those, yes,
them ones,
yeah.
Also had the cheap one for them as well. I like them. But you got the PlayStation brand, which were expensive, but then you could get some knockoff ones, which used to play.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah,
you get what you pay for, don't you?
From the market.
That's an actual PlayStation brand.
Very rarely is a clone product as good as the actual manufacturer's product, is it? So,
it is true.
Amstrad, you could say some of the clones are better than what they produced. Because for some, when they produced the Spectrum Plus 3, which is now kind of sought after, they used their particular brand of 3-inch disc as opposed to the more popular 3.5-inch disc. I wish
that's what I was going to ask you guys. What do you make of the Polymega? Have any of you heard of that?
No, I haven't heard of that.
Basically, it's a modulated console, and the base unit is basically got the PlayStation, Saturn, Sega CD, Neo Geo, and the PC Engine. So it will play
emulated or FPGA.
It's emulated, yeah. But you can also put your disc in, and it will literally preserve it, so you don't have to play that disc again. You can just stay on your collection. Yeah. And they've also released 4 different modules for the Mega Drive, SNES, NES, and the PC Engine, like the cartridge version. So they just slot on the back.
I do like all the new stuff. I've not seen that one, but I do love all the new, like the Retron. And I want to get a Retron 77. Actually, because I say my first computer was a +4, but we actually used to rent, not buy, but we used to rent an Atari VCS from the video shop. So that was actually technically my first one. So yeah, and so right, okay. So Polymega, I'm going to go Google that in a bit. I love all that stuff. Like the Next is great.
Definitely worth checking out. It's going to be a bit pricey when it comes out. It was supposed to be released November, but it's been pushed back due to COVID and all that rubbish. So
to be honest, but what you just described, I think a lot of people can do that on a Raspberry Pi, anyways, can't they? When emulation.
Yeah, I just think it's preserving that disc in it because you download your actual game, so you actually own that. Where with a Retro Pi, you just chuck all the ROMs, which you may not own, and that. So it's a more sort of professional way of doing it. Like you see Saturn's in the background, and apparently the emulation is very good for the Saturn, which has always been a bit of a bugger to emulate.
Yeah.
We need a Nintendo 64 emulator. My son, I've got two boys.
I think
one of them
they are
absolutely loves
working on
Nintendo
that
64.
as well.
Retron.
No, Polymega. I think they are working.
Oh, okay. Right. Okay. Yeah.
And
Cool,
64 as well.
Did you know
it's always a conversion, isn't it? It's always they can't quite get the. It's something to do with it. I don't know. I'm not that technical, but it's something to do with the fact that they can't just. It's not as easy to emulate. They can do it. You can do a Dreamcast easier than you could do a Nintendo 64 for some reason.
That was more PC based, wasn't it? The Dreamcast,
Right.
where they used like Windows CE because it was built
That's
into
what
the
it is.
system.
Is it something to do with the language it uses, sort of operating system?
I don't know. There's a couple of videos on it. I've tried following them.
How are you, Lee?
Retro Chef.
Yes, Retro Chef.
Oh,
Cooks
Retro
and
Chef. How's he doing?
Did you know they've actually? I don't know if you've seen it, guys. You know the Spectrum Next. There's actually a clone out now of the Spectrum Next. Have you seen that?
Yes. Now I'm going to snap one of those up.
For something that's quite new. Somebody's. I've actually.
Yeah.
I didn't want to buy one because I felt like I'd be. But now the Kickstarter's over, I thought, I'll go on. I'll buy that clone.
I've got it. Yeah, I know what you're saying, but I'm going to plump for one in the new year when get the old Christmas out of the way. But yeah, and I do know what you're saying. I saw when somebody put it in the group, didn't they? It was in one of the groups, probably in the next group.
Cloned it already. Can you believe it?
But the Kickstarter's done, and somebody's probably bought 2 or 3 of them. He's probably going to try and sell it on eBay for £1,000. So, I'm not going to lose too much sleep over it. I do, and I quite like the look of it, to be fair.
It's just a circuit board, isn't it? But it is the Spectrum Next basically.
Yeah.
Rich, I don't know if I can mention this. Retro Chef, he's streaming Sunday, and it's called a swap shop.
Yeah,
where YouTubers trade games. So if we can get more people on that stream trading with each other, it'd be brilliant.
Was that Retro Chef Sunday? Do you know what time?
Yeah, Retro Chef Sunday at 9.
9 in the night on night time, obviously.
Yeah, on our time, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I saw the one he did before.
I'll look into it definitely because I've subscribed to so many YouTube channels. I mean, I don't just go on 8-bit stuff. I mean, I've got Nostalgia Nerd. He's one of the main ones. I like what he does. I think there's the Spectrum show, but there's a couple
I like Spectrum.
Did anyone watch the 8-bit guy?
Yes.
Yeah.
Right. I've got a little story on that one. Let me just tell you this quickly. So he did a video about the he did a video on all the Spectrums, basically the 80, the 81, and then Spectrum. And the thing is, what you've got to remember is, and I'm going to have to be careful how I word this because I'm conscious of the crowds. But basically, over in the US, they were kind of the tech and the money, the economy, etc. They had access to things like the Atari 600 and 800, etc. So, like you say, Clive Sinclair worked absolute miracles to get this little computer together, and he wasn't overly positive about the 81. So I kind of did a little what you might call a response video and just said, look, I subscribe to him, by the way, and I love his content, but I said, look, it probably. It's not quite fair. It's not comparing apples for apples because you've got to remember in the UK we had a knackered economy, and this kickstarted it, and he actually did wonders with this little computer. And Jeff Minter had actually posted a comment saying exactly the same thing. But he actually saw my video and then he responded back and said, "Appreciate the comments, but I'm US centric." And I was like, "Okay, fair comment, mate. You are, yeah." So I love his content, but yeah, it is heavily US centric.
Because he's mainly Commodore, because that's his computer, which was the main computer in the States was Commodore, and then of course it was the Timex 2068, wasn't it? The unexpected.
Yes.
X81 was quite big-ish for a budget computer, but there's an episode because he's a very clever guy. He's a very, very clever guy. He does an episode where he's talking about phone jacking, and not people don't understand what phone jacking is. But you'll find that fairly fascinating, where he could play a tone on a payphone and get it free.
Oh yeah, okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So he tells you that how to get free international calls back in the day. But I found that quite a fascinating thing, because I didn't realise you could do that. I'd heard of something like that, but
it's a Captain Crunch thing, isn't it? It's the old getting the tone just right on the line back in the day.
I thought it was hearsay, but then he said you could play.
Okay.
because their computers were sort of listening out for certain tones, dial tones, for an international call to say that you've paid. And every time his 10 pence was running out, he'd play this tone on the tape recorder. And he'd tell the modem that, oh, he's put another quarter in, and he hadn't. So he used to get free phone calls. But he did a chat on that, and I found that quite fascinating. But yeah, he's pretty good. But yeah, so there's one that people might have missed, but it's good sort of, because we like that sort of educational thing as well, don't we? Really, it's not always about games sort of thing.
Yeah, I first saw that about, I think it was called Phone Freaking as well, wasn't it?
That's it, yeah.
And it was in War Games. Do you remember where he needs to make a phone call and he looks round on the floor and finds a can ring pull and just like touches the side and it does like an electric connection or something. I don't know if that particular one was kind of like
I don't think that'd work because it was listening out for a certain tone, wasn't it? But that was just the movies for you, wasn't it? In War Games sort of thing, yeah.
Yeah.
That sort of thing I found interesting because obviously the 8-bit guy's more in the American market. Same as Retro Recipes, really. He's quite big over here, but he's got a big audience in the States, isn't he? And he's all Commodore as well. But he did do a good interview on the Spectrum Next, and did a little piece to back it as well. So yeah, I mean do you watch Retro Recipes, any of you?
I've not watched it. No.
Retro Recipes, yeah, he's okay.
Yeah, I've seen him. Yeah,
it's all right, isn't he? He's not bad, but it's another thing, isn't it? It's a bit more variety in what you like for your nostalgia sort of thing. But obviously, if you're a Commodore, he's perfect for that because he's trying to do a Kickstart. I think he's creating a brand new Commodore, aren't they? Trying to do the Commodore. Well, they can't use the word Commodore, so they've used the word Commander 64.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
He built one.
Have you seen the Russian guy? There's a Russian guy, and I can't remember his name. And my wife's just walked in behind me, and I thought I could hear my voice again, and because she's got the stream playing, so they're all.
She bringing in the tea.
Hello, Mrs. Retro.
Yeah, she's bringing in a tea. You're bringing in a tea. She is. She's going to make us all a tea.
Oh,
Great.
Awesome.
Lovely.
Two sugars, please.
Girl.
Oh God.
She's got me Pepsi Max if I have a tea.
If anybody's is anybody in the Retro Tech? Is it Retro Tech 100 group on Facebook? That's good because basically that's everybody's basically a YouTuber, a retro YouTuber in there, and that's like all tons of. I think the biggest channel in there is like 1,500 subs or something. So it's a really good group just for everybody doing weird and wonderful.
I find some of the Facebook groups, they kind of frown on you if you put up, "Oh, we're going live tonight on this and this." Do you know what I mean? Because it's not congruent to the rules they've got written at the top. Don't get me wrong. I can imagine getting spammed by that sort of stuff. It's a bit crazy.
I don't take much notice. You can only. An insult is only an insult if you let yourself be insulted. Do you know what I mean? So you just ignore it, sort of thing. But I don't mind constructive criticism. But if somebody's, wants to frown on it and they haven't even watched your content, then they've got no rights to say anything, have they? But it is what it is. You just, people. There are going to be people who are going to dislike it, and that's their right to, dislike stuff. So I don't, not everyone's going to like what I do. I accept that. I'm not trying to please everybody. So,
no. But saying about the other channels, there's a Russian guy, and he does live streaming of playing games. You might have seen him. He's got like a distinctive channel. I can't remember.
I think I know who you mean. Just from that light description, I think I might know who you mean.
Yeah, every time he does a live stream, he must get like 1,500 viewers because it's in Russian and it's obviously Russian based. So there's a lot more people to kind of.
There's a lot of Russian clones, though, wasn't there? Of the Spectrum, they cloned the Spectrum a lot.
They have the clones, yeah.
The thing is that, as an island nation, England, if you like, Great Britain, it's big in Spain. It's big across Europe in places where you wouldn't think it was big. But Russians don't buy the Spectrums; they just reverse engineered it and built the same product.
Yeah,
so many clones. So in a way, you get a lot of great coders from Spain and a lot of good coders from Russia. So that sort of technology of the 80s was big in places like that. So
And they are still writing games now, and their games are good.
and phenomenal, and
Yeah.
phenomenal. I mean, if someone like Jim Badley's impressed by coders, they know it's good code. So yeah,
There's that retro man cave video, isn't there, where he's done this sort of just post-Soviet Spectrum scene, and they were doing, they kept the tech going to sort of 256K and so on and so forth, and they built their own systems, and they were like porting games like Mortal Kombat and things like. I mean, it was pretty crude-ish, but it was there, and it was impressive.
well, to say that 8-bit for our generation won't die. People are taking on projects now, like building their own Commodores in kit form, which you can, but you have to source some of the chips are quite hard to get, like the SID chip is quite rare. But you can buy from Byte Delight. You've all have heard of that. You can buy a Harley Quinn kit, which is the
Harley Quinn.
to build your own computer. 1 to 8K clone, really it is. But yeah, there's lots of projects like that, because I think the Spectrum, there's an X80 came out first of all as a kit, wasn't it, for hobbyists, if I remember rightly. So but them are the good old days. I mean, I love.
Go on, mate. Keep going.
I love the fact that they did the BBC did that program Micromen, and I thought
that's really good. That is, yeah,
brilliant. It's funny,
it is.
I mean, the person I forgot his name who played Sir Clive Sinclair. Just that scene where he goes, "He's bloody where?" That cracks me up now.
Brilliant film that was. The bloke from Point.
Yeah, I can't remember his name now all of a sudden, but yeah, I know you. Yeah. Oh man, put it in the chat. Put it in the chat if you know his name. Quick. The geezer from Pointless. He has it. Curly Shea gone bald.
Oh,
what is his name?
I've got Alzheimer's. So old now.
Bradley Walsh.
No,
Bradley
that's on
Walsh.
there. No. That's Jace.
That's a different show.
What's his name? It's got to come to me in a minute.
Alexander Armstrong.
Yes,
that's it.
Oh, Chris. Yeah, wrong one. Yeah.
Morgan Freeman played Chris Corey. Alexander Armstrong played. There's a few cameos in that because Morgan Freeman sits with somebody on the
Martin Freeman, isn't it?
Martin Freeman. Yes. Yes, I did think for a second. I was like,
Morgan Freeman's far too big for that movie.
Martin Freeman. Chris Corey is sitting watching that video for the first time on one of the videos somewhere on YouTube, and he's discussing. They're having a discussion. I think it was the computer centre, and Chris, obviously of BBC Micro and Acorn, said trust them to cast Martin Freeman as me, and he said, "Mate, but a lot of it is true, but some of it's slightly wrong. Like I think that in the bar scene,
that's always the way, though, isn't it? That's always the way. They always sort of manipulate things slightly.
That sexual content thing, the BBC like to put a bit of smut in there as well, don't they? I think in the bar scene, the lady that serves them at the bar, which was the wrong pub name, is actually the lady that used to work, that's played by an actress at Acorn, the one that comes in with the sandwiches and a screwdriver. But a lot of it's true, and so there's little tidbits like that you need to look out for. But it's one that you can't really redo because that was good enough, sort of thing. But yeah, I love watching it now because there's always something you miss that you'll find funny, and the fact it was based on the true events, not exactly entirely accurate, but adds a little something to it, doesn't it? And I think we all read about the apparent fight outside the what actually happened, but apparently Sir Clive Sinclair did actually kick Chris out of his house once, I believe. So yeah.
We
It's
just
a
got
bit about the car.
we just had a couple of questions from Simon. I asked the crowd, the audience, what questions they'd like to ask you. So Simon's come back with 2, and these are quite good questions actually.
Oh,
First one, why were they the good old days? And I'd
Memory-
actually say, were they the good old? Were they actually the good
why
old
were
days?
they the good old days?
Yeah. Now, whether this,
Oh,
Because
right.
we had to play pixel art from Simon Butler from Ocean.
that's it. Question answered.
End
won't-
of, yeah.
He won't
I-
take the come out with the insult.
It's probably because we had less responsibilities in them days, so it was fun, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So
And you could just you could just lose yourself.
You've got the general answer there, haven't you? That it's when you were kids. But I think if you've got something that if you were born in the 50s, you would not really have seen at all a computer at home. You'd have read about it, seen it on TV with a big whirring tape drives. Same again in the 60s. Now, if you were born at any point in the 70s, you really would have started out potentially with nothing, got an 8-bit computer, had to type it in yourself, got it on a disc, got a console, got a PlayStation. So it's it's probably the good old days because we probably the first generation to see everything from maybe start. I was going to say start to finish, but we're not there yet. But basically from the start, we've kind of seen how. But I mean, yeah, that'd be my
there
answer
were a
is.
lot of changes as well in those times. There was a lot of changes. So, you started off at the ZX, the ZX80, which was black and white, really small. Pretty much in the same decade, you almost got to the Amiga, or even further. So it did escalate quite a lot, and you saw the various changes with the technology. So that was quite an exciting time.
Well, it was so quick as well, wasn't it? That evolution. It was just.
Can I
Yeah.
quickly answer Simon's question? He's saying, what's wrong with games now? Well, there's nothing wrong with games now. They're brilliant, aren't they? There's no doubt about it. But back then, getting games to work could be quite an achievement, wasn't it? And there was that many bugs in certain programs. They wasn't as good, but they were still entertaining back. Just like a fun program from back in the day. It was good then. But there's nothing wrong with games now. They are obviously much better. The PlayStation 5's coming out and games have moved on graphically, entertainingly, and they're virtually you're in virtual reality. But back in the 80s, before we all had computers at home, obviously we had the first. Remember that little thing that playing the bass and used to turn the contrast right up. I think it was a G7000 or an Atari, the early models. When we moved on to computers, that was the first time we was able to get some of the arcade games in your house, wasn't it? Really,
Yeah.
Where people wasn't as good as the arcade, not at all. Of course, then because people were spending less money in arcades because they was able to play games at home, arcades started to lose out a little bit, and the development of games in arcades sort of took a little bit of a dive. So we've come full circle. I'll explain what do I mean by that. Well, when you used to go to an arcade machine, it was responsible for, say, Capcom or whoever owned that arcade machine or the game on it, license for it, to keep that unit working. When you brought the machine home, if your unit broke, you either get it repaired, but you didn't have to pay them constant quarters or 10 pences in the arcade machine because you was playing it for free. But then further down the line, you get games like FIFA and stuff like that. You want to play, say, FIFA, say, the early ones, you have to buy packs. So then you're instead of having the arcade machine at the arcade, you're giving them money by buying packs all the time to get players. So they've turned it full circle and they put the arcade machine in your house to get your money off you that way. But you're responsible for your arcade machine now and not them. So in a way, they're sort of turned it around, so the games can be developed even better still now. But say, I don't know if you've all played some of these modern games.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
What Fortnite and this
Fortnite and stuff like that, where you have to buy. You can play the basic game, but if you want the best stuff, you have to pay for it, don't you? So let's say Call of Duty, for instance, you can play it online. That's the big difference. But if you want bonus maps after the game's released, 6 months after, they release extra maps. You have to purchase them. Do you know what I mean?
All the DLC, isn't they?
Yeah. So really, you're paying the company constant money for the same game. Say
it's a good and a bad thing, isn't it? The DLC content's great.
The good thing is for them. The bad thing is for you.
Yeah.
Once it breaks, you have to replace it.
I think that's probably why I've gone back into retro.
Yeah, that's why we've gone back to retro. It's simple. You ain't got to keep.
It is.
Yeah,
it is. And I had hand surgery last year, and I find the modern games because my thumb creates a lot of lag, and I find the newer games with all the amount of buttons, I can't play them for very long anymore. So another reason why I've gone back to the Mega Drive is like it's a 3-button joypad, and I can play them games a lot more easy. I'm not very good at them because they were bloody hard, but
games nowadays they're way too early. They're way too easy as well. A lot of them they namby-pamby you through the game.
It's almost impossible to die into it. You get my kids have got like 900 lives on Mario, and it's more about the story necessarily than not being able to than the challenge of getting to the end. But there's the one thing about the new games that does. I like the DLCs. I like the idea of it, and I do like a lot of the content. But it's the account system. So like. It drives me nuts, and this is to what you've just said there. I go running back to my retro games immediately after this because, my kids will have to have they've got an email account each, and that'll link to a Nintendo Network account, which has got another account linked to it. But then you try to link one to that, and it'll say no, sorry, it's already associated with a Switch account, and then you're like, it spins me out, and I've just in the end. I did like a 1-minute video. Actually, did a 90-second video of me just ranting about
retro, mate.
I did. In the end, I did.
Right.
I went running back.
How did you find retro?
Yeah.
I'll
let you do this because I know what the answer is according to Simon.
Is it officially? Is it now? Are we all saying it's sort of anything 20 years? 20 years seems to be the mark in the sand now. For if you'd have asked me this 3 years ago, I'd have given you a right rant about how I don't think the PS2 is retro, and I don't even think the Dreamcast was retro. The PS2 to me came out like last year. That still feels a fairly new console to me. So, but I've kind of relented on that, and I've sort of acknowledged that it's but people are. I forget how old people are that were born in 1990. Now, if you're born in 1990, you're still at school in my head, but clearly, you're not. You're 30 odd. So, yeah, exactly. So I've my brain has caught up with reality, and I think, to be fair, anything. I mean, I wouldn't at all class anything like a PS3, but I would go to a PS2. For me, it's 20 years. I'll tell that. Anything retro, I think, is 20 years or more.
Can I answer the question? Try and answer the question. I always thought it was like 2 generations before. But I actually heard Simon say it's the feeling of something. It can be 30 years old, or it could have been released yesterday. But if the feeling is retro, then that's what it is, and it's quite a personal thing. So it's kind of. I mean, I'm kind of cheating a little bit because that is.
To be fair, Rich, with some of the games they released. Go on, mate. Oh.
He just posted that retro has nothing to do with age. So maybe that is what he defines as retro, but it can be down to an individual point of view, can't it? Do you know what I mean? It doesn't.
You can have retro aesthetic, can't you? I mean, you could have lots of the games that come out now are retro aesthetic. They kind of ape an 8 or 16, because that's the other thing they do is everything tends to be 8-bit.
RetroX, Rolex Core said, games they've got that retro feeling, within looks, the big pixelated. What's it called? It's a game.
Pixel art.
Pixel art. That's it. Yeah. So
it's funny because
retro.
they'll always call it that, but you always think back to it and you think, well, that wasn't really technically possible. You start kind of technically analysing it and thinking, no, that would be 16-bit, but you have to back off and go, okay, no, it's 8-bit aesthetic. Fair enough, mate.
Would you class that as retro?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Doesn't necessarily need to be a computer. I suppose it's something that you look back on, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
It's something in your childhood, isn't it? That's
Yeah.
classed as retro, you know, that's something that you love, then it means something to you.
But what's Simon? Because I was going to say Simon's put, so retro's nothing to do with the age of something. So Simon, are you thinking? I know you can't answer apart from via text, but are you thinking it's more that it could come out maybe 2-3 years ago, but it's more the feelings that it evokes, or it's more the, I don't know. He can't really answer because there's a bit of a lag, and he's going to have to type the answer into. But I guess you could do that. I mean, you could have something that came out only a few years ago, but evokes a nostalgic feel, I guess.
He has answered. He has answered.
What's he put?
Music, cats, films, it can all be classed as retro, yeah. But
Oh yeah, no, sorry, yeah. In that tech, yeah, I don't just class tech as retro. Yeah, absolutely, music, anything.
Well, you said
Yeah.
retro is something influenced
Retro
by the
appears
style
to-
of something earlier. So it's something that is influenced, by the style of something earlier. So as in a pixel game released yesterday, if it's influenced by pixel graphics 20 years ago, then
It could be a retro game.
Yeah,
I
could
get
be a
it.
Yeah,
retro
I get
that the new WrestleFest they're releasing is in the style of the original 91 arcade unit.
I used to love that. Yeah, put some money in that.
Brilliant game. Absolutely brilliant game.
Stomping away on people. That was the best move ever. That was. Don't bother with the moves. Just stomp people. Every lunchtime.
An elbow into the face.
Yeah, I used to love that. Brilliant game. Oh man.
And it captured the feel, didn't it, of WF at that time.
Yeah.
You know, you had the characters walking down the entrance. You know, it's just amazing game.
I've played that again on main on the just to get that back, and the other wrestling games actually. That's brilliant just to get that back.
First wrestling game was at the arcade, and I thought it was amazing. I think it was WWF. No, it might have been WCW, and
Was it WrestleFest? Was it the Royal Rumble?
might have been.
Well, they did release one before that, Superstars.
Yes, they did. Yes.
Yeah. Could have
Yeah.
been that one.
James, just letting you know, James, that Dainster's entered the party.
Oh, Dainster,
yeah.
what
Yeah.
a legend.
I just
What
thought
a
I'd
legend.
pop that in.
I need to scroll down
Everyone
his
should go
comments. Here we go.
to subscribe to his channel. The amount
Yeah.
of things he does for the community he's just a wonderful chap. So go subscribe to him. Give him some love.
Right.
Who's that? Sorry.
Dainster.
Superstars was before Wrestlers with the Honky Tonk Man. Yes, Honky Tonk Man was in it. You're right. Yes, he was. Yeah, I remember that. Yeah. I remember playing the arcade machine at Skate.
I think the two hidden characters was Andre and Ted DiBiase, I think, in Superstars. I think they were the baddies at the end.
Yeah.
It was around about 80, 88, I'm going to say, Superstars.
When did you get your? Was it Mega Drive you had then, or SNES, or did you have them both? I knew nobody who had a
I played
SNES.
them games in the arcade. Yeah, they never
right.
got
Yeah.
console released.
But just generally though, did you have both those at the time, or?
Yeah. My brother had the SNES and I had the Mega
Right.
Drive.
See, I only knew one person who had a SNES. We were all Mega Drive guys mostly, but I do remember thinking when I borrowed it off my mate, I remember thinking, yeah, graphics are slightly better, but I'll stick with the Mega Drive. But my Mega Drive was a Japanese import from a dodgy guy at the back of a van for 100 quid in about 1993, and it was the best £100 I ever spent because that Japanese one played absolutely everything. I could buy whatever cartridge. It didn't matter. And then my mates would get the UK version, and then they go and pay 50 quid for this guy to chip them. And I remember I thought, I don't have to do that, mate. Mine just fit. So that Japanese Mega Drive was the best money I ever spent.
And it looked good as well, the Japanese Mega Drive.
I thought it looked better.
The purple round the rim,
Yes.
the blue button, it just looks so cool, didn't it?
I think it did. I
And I
actually
always
think it
thought
looks
the
better than.
like the casing of the Mega Drive looked a bit like a sport car, like a Ferrari F40 or something. It looks so futuristic at the time. I mean, looking back at it now, it looks crap, but
And all the attachments could fit in the top of it as well, like the CD to the Mega Drive. And
yeah,
it just made you want to get it. No, you didn't know what they was going to do. I don't think they released that.
The 32X always gets a lot of stick, but I
sorry for the old crutch there. There it is. Look at that sexy piece of equipment.
I haven't got one anymore. I bet they're fetching silly money on eBay now.
Actually, no, this will probably cost you about 30 quid, 40 quid on eBay.
Yeah.
And I mean, the best ones to get is if it's got the high definition stereo surround sound. They are the best Mega Drives to buy.
I didn't know there was a different. I just all thought they was the same.
Oh no, there was about 3 different types of the Mark I, which all had different variations of the sound chips in it.
16-bit system.
Yeah,
because he had it on the front, didn't he? In 16-bit, I remember. Because I was always impressed with the sound that come out of them as well. Because I think sound on games make a really good atmosphere. Do you know what I mean?
The Mega Drive's got a very distinct sound as well.
Rage 2.
Yeah.
One of the best soundtracks of any game.
It is. Even the title music, the music when you're on the boat level, it's just like the bass of it. Yeah, it's really good.
Amazing what they did. To get that sound of the Mega Drive was just incredible.
Yeah.
Can you link it up to a stereo like you could with an Amiga? Like pump it through big speakers.
Yeah, you could, because there was the little stereo slot there.
Oh yeah.
So you could get a SCART cable with the stereo sound. You could pump that out your TV.
Or your hi-fi, you could just put it straight into the back of your hi-fi.
Or your Wi-Fi, yeah.
Which would.
Yeah. Cheers, Dainster. It's the first time, and it's used in StreamYard, which I think is what you use. So this is all like new to me. But yeah, it's could come out well.
We tried one last week, didn't we? Well, we tried a dual live stream game, and it did. Our tech let us down a little bit. Didn't quite come off. We'll give it another crack next week, maybe. Audio only though, no visual.
Definitely no. I think that's because we were using OBS to try and do what this is essentially doing. But you can't share like an emulator using this tool. It doesn't work very well.
That's a shame.
OBS is the free. But it's a lot trickier to use, isn't it? Unless you really know your way around it.
It's once you've got it. I find it. Yeah, when I first got it, I was like, deer in the headlights. I've got the basics down now, and I can use it, and you can get to do some quite clever stuff with it. But I think, to be honest with you, I mean, I'm just on a little laptop here. To be honest with you, I haven't got a gaming system PC at all, or a PC. I've just got a laptop. So, yeah, it just wasn't up to trying to stream through OBS to the YouTube software, and then putting Rich up on the screen at the same time through the meeting software. It killed it. It just was not. It was having absolutely none of it. We were playing it was like a Microsoft presentation. We were in frames like
this. Bit laggy. I mean,
very.
It is still up there. The sound was perfect. It's just everything else ground to a halt,
Yeah. If anybody wants to watch us do a Microsoft presentation style, kind of, moving along like that, then go for it. Knock yourself out. Yeah.
Broadcasting. Yeah.
Has anybody done sort of stream type stuff or with other content creators, or have you just kind of generally done your own stuff?
I've generally done my own stuff at the moment. I've done live streams. I use my laptop for live streams when I'm doing soldering and that side of things. But for my YouTube channel, I basically just use my mobile phone, as I've showed you, on a harness.
Yeah.
And because brilliant. If you go on your mobile and go to Google Play Store, you can get studio apps. You can get video making apps, you can get intro making apps, and you can also get music off them because the music that they supply doesn't breach any YouTube copyright protocols.
Royalty free.
Yeah, because like the starting sequence of my show. That's all made with VBlog, which was I just went to something retro and I thought, well, Mirrorball's 80s-ish retro goes back further than that, even if you like disco. So I used that, and then I found some sort of appropriate music that I could link to it, and that's how I did my starting sequence, because you can add your own text and titles to it. Once you've got that made, you've got the basis of the starting sequence for a show, and then you do one for an ending sequence. And I also started watching other YouTubers, like, I don't know if anybody watches Lewis Tech Tips.
Don't know.
No.
He's more to do with gaming rigs on consoles, where he's telling you about the latest NVIDIA graphic cards, etc., and he's testing television. But he always does like a little intro before he starts his starting titles, and I sort of picked up that, and I learned from other YouTubers, so yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting because I mean, I used to do videos all the time, but the amount of time it takes to edit, put everything together, because I use Adobe Rush, so it is a desktop tool, which is also mobile, but trying to get a video out, it took time. But if you stream, and as long as you've got a script sort of in your head, you can play games live, and that's your video done, and it's a lot easier.
I don't know if I could show you this.
I use InShot. That's a pretty good app on.
Is that
In
a phone app
Google.
as well?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can you see that at all?
Yeah. I think so.
Vaguely, sort of.
It's I think I'll try the Intro Maker. That's the Intro Maker app.
Yeah.
And it's gone blurred, so I need to turn the contrast down. But yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, right.
I
That's
can see.
your intro, yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
it's just, and all that's done by an app, and it's so easy. It takes all of about 3 minutes to create your own starting sequence. So if you want to try that out, because what you can do, if you run your stream off your laptop and set up with a few cameras on OBS Studios, do it on your Android mobile phone, download this to your YouTube studio, and then just click and link it into whatever.
Okay.
It's as easy as that. And it looks more professional when you've got a starting sequence than just coming straight on, doesn't it? You know what I mean? And but it's easy to do. It's just something you've got to, know your way around.
I can see Dave's just put OBS is a nightmare, but
It's finally taken me a year to get my little thing going, because I've been shouting out Dexter, my African grey parrot, Game Zone, Bird Room, and he now says the Bird Room fine. I'm just trying to get him to say the Game Zone now, so I don't have to actually shout out Game Zone, Bird Room anymore. But yeah, if you watch my video, I say Game Zone, and he says Bird Room, Bird Room.
I'll just So Dave's just put OBS is a nightmare. You can share screen on StreamYard. Yeah, you can, mate. But the problem is, it's like Richard just said, the StreamYard we can't. We wanted to do like a Let's Play type thing of an adventure game, and I don't think StreamYard can do that. So that's where we're relying on OBS a little bit. But yeah, I mean, I found it okay. OBS. Once you've got your head around it.
I mean, I think it was because we were actually trying to stream to two channels at the same time. Do you know what I mean? If one of us kind of rang in to the other stream, if I rang in to you, just with my voice, then it would probably work okay.
Yeah, we'll give it another bell. We'll give it another go.
Boys. Gotta get yourself another drink.
Yeah. Yeah, get us a Pepsi Max, will you?
Right, let's see. So I've got some questions. Hit me with some questions. I'm feeling in a Q&A mood. I don't know that we answered all. I'm sure there was a. Or did we answer all? Maybe we did answer.
Was that some more from Simon? I'm just scrolling back up.
I thought he asked 2 or 3, but maybe we answered them. My memory's fading.
Do the me, bro. School. Yeah, Mrs. was a great sport on my new video.
Great vid with the missus.
Yeah, you'll have to watch. Yeah, you'll have to watch that. it's
Just took over my channel.
yeah,
My kids are doing more videos than me, actually. I've tried. I sort of got a little bit burnt out. You know, we were on about it with the old lockdown stuff. And when it first went into lockdown, I was working from home. I was like, yeah, I've got two. Don't have to drive so much. I can get loads done. And over the course of the year, I've just got burnt out or lazy or whatever. And so, but my kids have stepped in. I think they've done more videos on the channel recently than I have, to be honest. So it's become a little bit of a family one, so which is pretty good.
Oh, that's wonderful. That is.
Yeah, it is. We've done a couple together, and kids will do I mean, they'll do, you know, FNAF, Five Nights at Freddy's type stuff. In fact, Lewis is here now. You hovering man. What you after?
No, I just decided to come check.
All right. What are you playing?
Pokemon Red.
Pokemon Red. There we go.
there you go. Not
Never
my
played
day.
any of the Pokemon games.
Yeah. Right. Any questions for the Motley Crew?
Yeah, I just see if anybody's got any questions. How are you getting on with your retro Pi? You know, you say you were starting to build one or put one together.
I've always got, yeah, sort of. Well, I've always got a few of those on the go. But again, I say that, and I've sort of got a bit burnt out with that. But yeah, I'm always like sticking them in. My favourite one's the Vic, because I actually the first computer I had was a Vic 20, and it didn't work. I got it. I'm sure my recollection is I was probably about 5. Got it for my birthday. Never worked. Got a game Crazy KV. And then it didn't work, so my dad took it back and he came back with a +4. So after that, I was like, for like 30 years, I was like, oh, what was that Vic 20 like? So I actually got one that was broke, kind of, and I'm not that great with electronics, but basically I stripped out what I could, put a Pi in there, connected it up to the keyboard, and put emulation onto the Pi. So when you turn it on, basically it looks like the real thing. You wouldn't necessarily, unless you got close to it, but you wouldn't necessarily know from a fair distance. So I'm always doing things like that. I've got loads of cases. I'm trying to do one with the Dreamcast. I'm going to do one with the Dreamcast. Now we've got the Pi 4, which can do that. So I'll do a Dreamcast one. What else have I done? Loads of them. Sinclair QL.
Sounds interesting.
Amstrad. I've done Atari.
Yeah, it's one thing I've never delved into, the Pi. We've got another question from Dainster, actually. Have any of you gents attended any of the UK gaming events in the past or plan to in the future? Definitely
That's
in the future.
Retro event. I in Warsaw or Willenhall, and that was just before lockdown. And obviously, lockdown stopped a lot of these retro events from actually happening. But you know, I think hopefully 2021 we'll all be able to go to some more events, because it's not only that, it's a good place to buy certain things, like, you know, you don't always see. I've always wanted to buy a BBC Micro.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
did you, in your, I don't know if you sort of, in schools, we used to have BBC Micros in the schools, didn't we? And
Yeah.
I always remember having a speech synthesizer there that was plugged into the micro, and you used to type a word in it, used to say it at the speech synthesizer.
I don't remember that at our school, but maybe we did. I just used to remember playing Granny's Garden. That was all we did.
Well, with that program they used, that's probably where I first heard Stephen Hawking's voice, because it was exactly that. So yeah, it's, you know, except he wouldn't say okay, you know, but something silly like Wayne's Ace okay, he'd say Wayne's Ace ok.
So I think there's,
As you do, just to get a game.
I did see this on, I think it was it Dainster's, you might know, James, where was it where he talked about geographically where are all the, you know, the retro conventions? Are they down south? Are they Midlands? Are they up north?
They're mainly all more in the Midlands and that, because obviously things are cheaper up there. But I've never been to any of them, and obviously due to knowing Dainster now, he sort of alerted me to, you know, all these gaming events that's going on. So when they start up next year, hopefully, I'll definitely be meeting all the other YouTubers, and I can't wait to have a beer with them all.
Yeah,
Should be a good laugh.
I think I'll be
Used to
joining
be
you
old
as well.
Bescott Stadium in Warsaw, some of the retro events.
Is it Retro Revival?
That's
What
Revival.
you just put up?
He's
It's a good middle ground as well, isn't it? I mean, obviously from wherever you're coming from, if it's like at the NEC or something, you're laughing, then it's central for everybody, really, more or less, unless you're in Scotland. But yeah,
it's
Playing on the Isle of Wight.
yeah, yeah.
Somewhere where you've got to have decent rail links as well as road links. I wouldn't say we're this place because that's the M6 M5 interjunction. It's nightmare to come between junction 10 to 8 sometimes with traffic. But Manchester, possibly, you know, not a problem. Because you get a few people travel down from Scotland to attend them. I don't know, you've heard of Ian from Newton Caterpillar, Aberystwyth. He's came down all the way to attend one in Warsaw, and the train station's right opposite Bescott Stadium. But it's also a lot of money to put these events on. So, you know, it's really run at almost a loss because they sell the tickets not really to make a profit, but just to give an event for us.
Just to put the event on.
To all attend. Yeah. And hopefully introduce new younger people to old tech, because you get a lot of young ones in there playing the old arcade machines and probably thinking, what's this load of rubbish? You know, but some of them, you know, like it's a bit like that. Back to the Future scene, was it? When they goes, oh, you've got to use your hands. That film, I think it was sort of, yeah. But, I forget, is it Craig Turner does the events around here?
Well, that's what you just put now, yeah. Craig Turner said Revival probably won't be making an appearance until late 2021. Well, you know, it's probably for the best. Let's get the old bloody virus out of the way, get that done and dust, and then we can all meet up for a beer.
Because he does a lot for us all who love our old tech and our retro and stuff like that. So, yeah, big shout out to Craig.
Yeah, he does do a lot. There are events in Milton Keynes and Bristol, because somebody said never down south.
Never down south. It's a bit harsh, but there you go.
I think you might get a few in London or something, but yeah.
I think it's just the London gaming market, which apparently isn't that great.
Right. But yeah, I mean, I'd be willing to travel to the Midlands and, you know, up round a bit further north, Yorkshire and all that kind of place, because I used to live there, so I know the area well.
I mean, go to Dainster's channel. He's definitely the chap to ask about all this.
He knows what's what,
very knowledgeable. Yeah. I think he sells items at a lot of these events as well.
All right. I need to get something Sega or something Nintendo. I haven't got any of that. You know,
you need to get some Sega stuff, mate. You really do.
I know. I had a Game Gear. I did have a Game Gear.
I think that's the only reason why you watch my channel, and it is the Sega stuff.
Did anybody have a Master as well, or did you go straight to the Mega Drive?
I went straight from the Spectrum to the Mega Drive, which was like a massive. I mean, it's like going to like the PlayStation 1 now to like the PS4. You know, it was that massive, great big jump. I was amazed by it. It just different world.
The only problem was you couldn't copy the games. With the Spectrum, we used to be able to hire the games out from a shop.
And copy them,
You used to hire them out for £1, but you had to pay the full price. And when you took them back, you got £6 back. So as long as you had another £1 saved, you could hire another game. But obviously that was so you go home, copy them, and then return them. But
we get quite good at trading though. I worked out a little system basically. So we had a shop near us called Venus Video, and they used to sell the Mega Drive games. But then you had the market stalls, and they'd sell them. And then the best thing to do is you got a game, and you go and work out who got the best price, sell it and swap it there. Go to the other one, sell it and swap it there. I got to put it. I mean, I literally owned Quackshot twice in one day because I swapped it with my mate, He went down to the market, swapped it there, and I went to the market and swapped it back and got it back again.
Stocks and shares in software.
Yeah.
Effectively, yeah. Building up a bit of revenue, yeah. But, yeah. That
I
card
don't know if
piratable now in the end. So, but I remember. Do you remember the PlayStation 1 that you used to have to put the chip inside it? You could put a chip inside it to play pirated games.
Yes,
and
my mate
done
had
that.
that.
The other way around was to get an actual official game before you had a copy of the game.
Yeah,
And
let it load the boot. Yes.
With a pen and
Yeah.
just take it out and swap it over.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I remember that. Yeah, I remember doing it with my mate, and then he got his chipped, and then yes, you're right.
That was the way, because
yeah,
not everyone could afford it, could they? You know, unless you was middle class or upper class, you know, you could buy the latest games and show off. But some of us just had to find other ways to get ourselves.
a bit more creative.
I'm just going to nip out for a second. I won't be too long. I've got
No problem.
just
We'll
going
keep the
to the toilet.
conversation going. Lads, as soon as it goes out,
See
we
in a
can start
minute.
talking about him. Yeah.
Rich,
Yeah.
we're going to wreck your channel, mate.
Yeah. It's all going horribly wrong now.
do you find any of the modern kind of access to retro games has altered your opinion of original games? So quick example, I was always like, I was at a Mega Drive guy in the 90s, and the SNES, I was like, what's that really? But then actually looking back now, I must admit, there's a really good library of games, and I think I would have been quite happy to have owned a SNES. Looking back now, and now I would almost consider that there's, you know, I like a lot of the games just as much, almost, even though I've got an attachment to the Mega Drive because I had Road Rash and all that stuff. But
Yeah.
Did you find you've kind of did you find you've stuck to it like glue to what you thought when you were a kid in the 90s, or do you feel like you've maybe retro-conned your own view of?
James, you want to answer that first?
You know, I was, to be fair, I was quite lucky when my brother had a SNES, and even though
you had both then,
personally I thought my Mega Drive was better, I mean, SNES had some amazing games, and so, you know, and they're so legendary. You know, you got your Mario, Donkey Kong, Zelda, and that they are so legendary games, and you know, Nintendo were best at what they'd done. They were best at producing these type of games and that. I mean, but Sega, I mean, if you want your arcade stuff, Sega's the top dog basically. But if you want your console stuff, Nintendo. I mean, that's why Nintendo are still about to this day. Where Sega, you know, they fucked up on so many different things. It's a shame because they were brilliant, but
I think the difference in today's games to the ones you could go back and look on is the fact you can play real people online. That's got to be a massive. I mean, let's be honest. If you're just playing against a computer at Call of Duty, would it be the same as when you're playing against real people? And some of them take it quite seriously, but that's the difference. Is playing other people online, because you can get almost a community together in that way, can't you? Where, you know, when
it's the first thing my kid does when he gets home. Yeah, he's straight on the PS4 and he's talking to his mates in 30 seconds.
That was the best thing about the N64 was it was already multiplayer straight out of the box with your four ports there. So you're playing Mario Kart with three of your best buddies. It was just an amazing experience, and you don't get that anymore, do you? Because you play online with people.
You used to have real
being
time
in the
games,
lounge, or
games that could run for months and weeks. I think there was one where you was a starship commander, or you was building planets.
Oh, I know the one you mean. Yeah.
Yeah, you had those sorts of real-time games, but they're not the same as sort of fast real-time games that you used to play.
When I got to college, we used to have like LAN parties. So we'd go around to my mates, and a couple of us would rock up with our PC. You know, the Pentium 2, the beast of a Pentium 2.
Oh, was that like Unreal Tournament?
To be honest, we used to play Jedi Knight. Dark Forces 2 was the one we used to play. This is like 1998 now, so we used to play that. And also there's a game called Outlaws, I love those games. So that was, and you could play online at like £3 a minute, racking up those phone bills, or you could play with your mate if you lugged your kit round there. But yeah, I must admit, I was never. That's the thing, you see. I at the time I would have been like, Mario, what's that about? But now I really love the Mario games. I've kind of altered I've kind of retrospectively gone back and altered 14-year-old Adam's view of the world, really, because
I'm still a Mega Drive man.
No, exactly. You still, you still, yeah. It's like a football team, right? So you're still, you might move location, but you still take the team with you. So, and it's the same with that. So, yeah. Basically.
Sonic the Hedgehog.
Classic. Absolute classic game. My all-time favourite game. The nostalgia that
it's the noise, sound of the rings.
Yeah,
when you pick the rings up.
I'm playing that game still to this day.
There was a program which had that. I forgot the name of it. We did at the NEC. They did an event, the games event, I think it was, where Sega were launching Sonic the Hedgehog 2, and there was a challenge on a bus, right? And I think you had that.
Bad Influence covered it. You can look up. You can see it on YouTube. There's a Bad Influence episode where they
wasn't it called Sonic 2 Day or something?
Tuesday, Sonic Tuesday, and they had an event, didn't they? And they did the launch of it, and
you could play. And there was a challenge apparently, and the one that got the most rings got a prize. At the end of the day, and I forgot the games there was a series on TV where you'd have
Games Master.
Patrick Moore, wasn't it? He was the games master.
Yeah.
He probably never ever played them before, but you'd ask him the question and he'd tell you the cheat and the hack to the game, because he used to press left, right, up, down, left, right to put the pokes in that way, because of the cheats for the game were built into the program.
Yeah, that was it.
But you just knew as a kid that Patrick Moore hadn't got a. I only want talking about.
He had no idea.
But he just looked good for the effect, didn't he? But yeah. I could be wrong. He could have been a genius at Sonic the Hedgehog and we never knew it, but I don't think so.
Did anyone ever play Super Monaco Grand Prix? I thought I was the bee's knees at that, because is it San Marino and you get to the top and there's that corner, and I could just time it, just twist it just enough so I could just clip the side, bounce off and fly around the corner at top speed. Yes.
I couldn't even get out the garage at Gran Turismo. That's how bad
I hate driving games. I really don't like them. I have to admit, you Gran Turismos and all that malarkey. From the PlayStation onwards, I was out. But Super Monaco Grand Prix, the second one was terrible. The Ayrton Senna one, the sequel to it. But the first one was absolute classic. I played that to death.
I do love me driving games.
Yeah, I think it's. I was just all thumbs with it, and I always found slightest movement, and I was all over the place.
Once you got the steering wheel, I found them a lot easier to play, because the problem is with clicking that so many times to turn right, then you've got to click that way to get back in line with the steering wheel. You sort of did that, and games were a lot easier when you had the right hardware to use with them.
I mean that's what I remember on the original PlayStation was Ridge Racer. That's got nostalgia for me.
Yeah.
Just seeing the graphics and the music and whatever, it was really playable as well.
It looked awesome. It looked awesome at the time as well, didn't it? Ridge Racer.
Yeah.
Especially when you compare that to Daytona USA, they came out around about the same time.
Yeah. But I mean, Daytona still looked good. It was for the time. It was close to the arcade,
wasn't it? The draw distance was just absolutely joyful. I mean, played like a dream. It's still one of my all-time favorite racing games. But it was just all the clippings, and the draw distance was just
what was the last
ridiculous
game that you played? The last racing game on your channel you played? I thought that looked really impressive.
Oh, was that Buggy Heat, wasn't it?
Yeah, that one had a really good. That had a good draw distance, and it had the mechanics in it were really good.
Yeah, it felt like playing Sega Rally, the original Sega Rally on that game. Yeah, I really enjoyed that. Definitely going to get that and add that to the collection.
Yeah, yeah.
First racing game I played was Pole Position on the Spectrum. So
Yeah,
Yes.
that was my first ever
That was good.
racing game I
still,
played.
still good. It's still good to this day to play. But then I went straight to, I think it was Colin McRae's Rally on the Mega Drive. Was it on the Mega Drive or PlayStation?
No,
PlayStation, I
PlayStation
think.
1.
Yeah.
PlayStation. And of course, you got the frame rate sort of appearing a little bit quicker, where you didn't have that problem with the Spectrum. It was just there straight away, wasn't it, frame rate wise? But yeah, Colin McRae. And then obviously the game Gran Turismo was a big one, wasn't it? But,
That was Xbox, wasn't it? I think. Is that
was it
right?
Gran Turismo was on-
Well, Gran Turismo. No,
Yeah.
PS1.
I thought that was a
Oh, was that
PlayStation as
PS1?
well.
Sorry, yeah.
Yeah.
certain games
Come on,
released.
Rich, that's one of your
I
favourites.
know, I know. Oh god.
What's your ultimate controller? I'm going to name mine straight away. The PlayStation 1 controller, and not even the fiddly analog stick one. Get rid of the sticks. Just I want the
Yeah.
buttons.
Sega
That's my
Saturn.
favourite controller. Oh, 6-button.
Yeah. Best controller ever.
Controller.
Sega Saturn.
The keys on the rubber keyboard Spectrum was probably
Yeah.
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 I was going to say, yeah, keyboard. I think for me, keyboard is. I mean, a keyboard and mouse, realistically, because you can do so much more. You know, you've got all those keys on the keyboard, and the mouse does the
Yeah,
direction.
but you need the world for that, though, don't you? With a keyboard and mouse.
You need what?
If, I mean,
sorry?
if you're playing a fighting game, Sega Saturn joypad is just an absolute
That is-
perfect joypad
that
for a
is
fighting
true.
game.
Yes, yeah,
So I mean, it all depends on what game you're playing, isn't it? Basically.
true.
Yeah.
And also, yeah, I mean, and joysticks as well. They're absolutely. I don't like them at all. You know, like the old school joystick.
Oh, like the
the
Atari.
Python one. Yeah,
The
I was never
Atari
too
one,
fussed
yeah.
with them.
You know, like that. I don't
Yeah.
know if you can see
Yes.
it. There. You know, they're horrible.
the PlayStation 4 joystick I find easy enough to use. It's got so many different controls that once you remember them, they're great. I mean, you know, for getting used to them. But I understand his point of just saying when you just had just two buttons at the top and then you got without the D-pads, there was less things you could press wrong, if you know what I mean. But
Yeah, I'm all over the
I
place.
suppose we really should mention the SNES joypad as well, because that gave us the trigger buttons.
Yeah, that was a good innovation.
Yeah.
I think that's
That was
like that's
definitely
almost
a
become like a de
benefit
facto
of
now.
joypad.
When you buy a lot of the aftermarket type stuff. Yeah, I think the SNES pad. That's another one you see. Looking back now, the SNES pad I think is
And it was
is
round
up there.
as well. It was really comfortable, wasn't it? Like,
Yeah.
'cause the,
Yeah, and it's like the PS4 controller. That is, I mean, I'm just looking at one now. They're a lot bigger, which I think is nicer as well. Like you say, the original PlayStation was really, to me, and I've really not got massive hands. You know, they were quite small.
But I can't pick up a modern controller without accidentally pressing a button and turning the bloody thing off or something. Every time I can't. I fear it. I walk up to it with trepidation, going, "I'm going to pick this." I'm like Indiana Jones when he's trying to whip the statue off.
But
I'm going up to this controller,
There's-
and I'm like, right, any second now I'm going to pick it up, and I go, no, I've pressed the button because everything's a button on it. Everything's a
yeah, I
button.
was going to say
The middle pad is a
back of
button,
it's
and
a button.
the starty unswitched on thing is a button that looks like a light, but it's a button. It's all a button. So you prick it up, it's like, no, I've turned it on again, or I've turned it off or
Which do you
something.
prefer, lads? Because I find, because I've got used to a PlayStation controller, that if I switch from that to the Xbox, even though it's similar, I can't get used to the Xbox
Yeah,
controller.
it's muscle memory,
it's
isn't
the
it?
replacements of the analog sticks, in it probably that was messing it up for you.
So which would you prefer out the two controllers? Which one do you prefer?
Well, I'm back to PlayStation now. I mean, but again,
I
Yeah.
prefer the placement of the Xbox.
yeah,
Yeah, I'm trying to remember
I'm
it.
gonna go PlayStation, I think.
Where both the analog sticks are placed. But that's my preference, you know.
But I suppose
can't-
it's what you've played with the most, isn't it? See, if I
Yeah,
if I
yeah.
started with the Xbox, then I probably couldn't adapt to the PlayStation. But because I started with the PlayStation, I find it hard to adapt to the Xbox. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's all to do with the placements of where they put the analog sticks, definitely.
No look. Dane's just put no love for the Vectrix controller. I love a Vectrix, me. Emulation though, sadly.
Oh, you haven't got a Vectrix then? You haven't actually got one?
Not the real thing.
No.
Oh,
No, I mean,
there's
it
a couple of videos on that now. And is that who did that? Is that the 8-bit guy as well? Somebody stripped one out to stop because it did that vibration, the sound vibration, and one of the major channels has got away, stripped it out, and there's a new board or something that you can get to stop it vibrating.
Yeah, I don't know a lot about the Vectrix.
It looks very cool. There's just something about it.
But it's proper vectors, isn't it? It's not bitmapped graphics. It's actually vectors. So they're proper smooth, if that makes sense.
It is, yeah. I mean, well, I'm saying it is like I know it. I've only played it on emulation, but yeah, it is very smooth.
And also, it's vertical as well. I think the screen is vertical. Yeah, so like proper arcade, for want of a better term.
Gentlemen, I've got to go, I'm afraid. So I'm going to have to leave you to it.
You've beat me to it because I've got to go because I've got to go put the kids to bed. I should have done it about an hour ago.
Lovely to meet you both, guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, pleasure.
I'm subscribed to both your channels.
Thank you very
Definitely.
much.
God bless you.
I'll put the details in the description as well.
Take care, all. Bye for now from Retro.
Yeah, cheers,
Take it
guys.
easy, mate.
See ya. Bye.
Yeah, I think actually anybody who's in the chat as well, if we get a list of the channels of anybody and just get them in the comment stuff, and then I can go on a mass subscribing fest afterwards.
I'm just trying to work out. Oh, okay, there we go. I've worked out how to move it. Yeah, no, a mass subscription fest. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to go on one of those after if we can get everybody's channels. But yeah, gents, I'm going to have to bid you adieu as well because I need to go and get everybody to bed. But it's been a pleasure. We should do it again.
Ditto.
Definitely,
Cheers,
yeah,
Adam.
Definitely. Yeah. Right.
Take care.
Take care all.
Take it easy, mate. Down to
Cool.
two.
So if I was going to say, I'm still learning the controls. It's like if they disconnect, then they disappear automatically. So that's good to know. But yeah, no, then there were two.
I think you've done a great job, mate.
Well, it's been interesting, put it that way. And it was a good chatter as well, really good. A lot of different subjects. And yeah,
it went quite smoothly, didn't it?
It did. It'd be interesting to see the recording as well.
The worst thing is when there's a massive pause.
Oh, you mean like silence?
Yeah, silence.
Yeah, it's like say
no one
something.
knows what to say. We're just standing there looking. Oh shit!
Yeah.
Go on, someone say something.
Well, I did actually. Big Game Al just said get Dainster on. I did put in the chat.
Mate. Well,
I did put.
He's so knowledgeable.
I did put in the chat. I said anyone who wants to come on, email. So there is an email. So next time, it's kind of like I said, it's an open mic, so we can have up to 10 people, whatever. Get everybody piling on, and have a good conversation.
As long as I come back, Rich,
Oh yeah, no, you're VIP. You're VIP now. But yeah, it's been, and to be honest, it's flown. I never
didn't
thought
realise we've been live for what, 2 hours? 2 hours, is it?
2 hours, yeah, it must be 2 hours and 1 hour 48 minutes. So yeah,
that is impressive.
And it's it's gone really quick. But yeah, it's thanks for everyone for actually in the chat, actually, asking questions and chipping in with the conversation. So next time, anybody that feels like it, email info@theretroengine.com and you'll get on the screen and have a proper chat. Yeah, that'd be good.
That'd be brilliant.
I think that would be good. But yeah, it's finally come to fruition then, James?
It has, mate. As I said, look, our channel sort of started about the same time, didn't they?
Yes.
And we got chatting. I think you might have commented on one of my videos. I can't quite remember now.
I think
we exchanged emails, didn't we?
Yeah, it was just the Game Zone Bird Room. The way you said it at the beginning, I thought, oh God, I don't care what computer he's into. Do you know what I mean? What systems he's got? It's got birds in there and budgerigars and stuff. And yeah, it was a different channel, you know, which I think is what Wayne was saying. You know, he does it how he does it. You do it how you do it, and it, you know, you will get an audience, definitely.
I really don't know. I have Dainster to thank a lot, mate. When he found my channel, and I had no idea what was going on, sort of in the background. I kept on getting all these comments on me, on some of my videos. So, I was sent here from Dainster and things like that. I'm thinking, who's Dainster?
It's like, where's Dainster? Yeah.
I mean, I thank him for all the comments, but yeah, I just did not realise what was going on in the background.
Well, I was just saying, sorry, I'd never heard of him until you pointed me in the direction, and then there was, like, you know, Big Game Al, I think Amiga Old School as well. They all sort of turned up at the same time. Gunnel, I'll never get this right.
Gunnaldinho,
yeah, plays. Yeah. That was another one, and I kind of subscribed all at the same time.
He produces some terrific videos.
Which one? All of them?
Well, they all do, yeah. But Gunnaldinho, he really produces some great videos.
He's just gone over
1K as well.
Has he? Oh, that's good benchmark. Good, you know. What do you call it? Not a benchmark. What is it? A good. Well, good.
It's a good way to sort of.
But it takes a while. But it's nice when you realise that there are people watching. You know, they're commenting.
It's a great feeling. You know, I'm quite blessed with my little sort of circle of gaming community that watches my channels, always commenting. You know, you always get the same chats commenting that. You know, and I'm very grateful for all of them. Really.
Yeah, and it was, you know, it's and like you say, we kind of started off at the same time. You know, we swapped emails, and then it kind of went from there. But it's like, oh, that looks great. You know, that's a good idea. Sort of feedbacking each other, kind of thing.
That was one of the best things I liked chatting to you about, was, you know, the sort of the knowledge we were bringing from each other. You know.
Yeah. No, totally. But yeah, it's been a weird old year, hasn't it? I mean, I know we're only at the beginning of December, but thinking back to April, when I first found you, I think that was when I first found your channel. You know,
yeah, it was about March or April, wasn't it?
Yeah, shitloads happened. And
it's been a very strange year.
Yeah, and I'll seriously be glad when it's over and we can start.
Same here, mate. I can't wait to see the back of 2020.
Yeah, God. Big countdown. It's not to, you know, it's not to Christmas. It's to the new year.
Yeah, definitely, yeah.
But yeah,
it's been a right pain in the arse this year, but I mean, for everybody.
Yeah, and I think it's been it's been like taxing, you know, and it wears you down, I think. But
yeah, I mean, because you stopped for a while, didn't you?
Yeah, I did, and that was basically the reason we just said, is it wore me down. Everything was wearing me down, and I sort of second thought everything I was doing on YouTube. There might have been other stuff I was doing instead, but you get to a point where you think, fuck it, is it worth doing it? And then I kind of thought through it, and eventually, 3 months later, I thought, I'll just carry on doing it because people seem to enjoy it. I enjoy it. I enjoy doing it.
I'm glad you came back, mate. As I said, because I mean, you do quite a lot of Spectrum and Commodore 64 and that, and, you know, and I love my Spectrum. I mean, you need to review Sports of Kings for me.
Okay,
I love that game.
I'll put that top of the list then. Yeah,
good man.
Definitely, but yeah, it's. I mean, I'll have to find a game for you to review that I've played on any of the consoles you've got.
Yeah, definitely. I'll do a review for you, mate.
Yeah, I'll have to have a think of that, can't think of anything straight off, but it's it's interesting discovering new stuff as well.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that's what's great about this community, and we all got our different likes for different systems, and you get some of them that take Tootie UK. I mean, he's got literally probably all the systems, and I think he's got pretty much full collections for all of them.
Yeah.
He never plays the games though.
No. Oh God.
I don't understand it. He's got this amazing collection, but yeah, he never plays the games.
That's mad. Yeah, it's
But
crazy.
he's so I don't know if you have subscribed to Tootie UK.
I don't know, to be honest. I've got so many subscriptions that I forget.
So he's been on YouTube since the dawn of the dinosaurs, bless him.
Oh,
And,
right, okay, yeah.
He's
That's
such
another
a knowledgeable chap, and he's fun to watch as well.
Oh,
So
cool.
if you can, cheers, Alan. Thank you, mate.
Yeah, I'm just looking through the comments. There's about 50 that have come up, and I haven't put any of them up. No, it's all appreciated though. All the comments and like observations and stuff on what we're talking about. I mean, it says there, yeah, Dainster put me onto Game Zone
There we go,
Birdroom.
yeah, Sega Zombie.
Sega Zombie, yeah.
Quality channel, really quality channel.
Yeah, I'll have to subscribe to that. So there's a few here, or at least there's a couple that I don't think I've subscribed to. So yeah, there's more to find, more to watch. So yeah, no, it's all good. Well,
I think that's one of the best things about your sort of community and my community, Rich, is we're sort of merging them hopefully together a bit as well.
Yeah, you're right, because I'm picking up from your consoles, and then obviously like the Amiga and stuff that you haven't necessarily used or played with. There's kind of like, it's like a Venn diagram. There's a bit in the middle that links. So yeah, no, it's really
and
good.
all void in the middle that
Yeah,
that needs joining up.
It will eventually. Don't worry. Just saying, check out my mate Ant's channel and website, Retro Games Collector. Plenty of home computer stuff. Yeah, I'll do that. I'll have to go through the broadcast again and just write down everybody that needs mentioning and stick them in the comments.
Yeah, that's a nice thing to do.
Yeah. Oh, that's cool. See, we got Cyber Snake as well. See that?
Yeah, he's lovely chap. He does some great videos.
Yeah, we're all good here. Yeah, thanks for popping in. Well, thanks everyone for popping in. We're hitting the 2-hour mark now, aren't we?
Yeah, that's not bad at all, is it?
No, that's quite good actually. But yeah, it's been, it's good.
I've thoroughly enjoyed this, Rich.
Yeah,
it's been
me
great.
Too. No, I'm glad, and it's yeah, me too. It is good. It's enjoyable, meeting other people on the same wavelength, basically. I think.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, no, good stuff.
Well, we're such a niche market, aren't we? Us retro gamers.
That's it. I mean, I do play text adventures sometimes live, and that's a niche of a niche. I know I've said it a few times, but you got a niche of like retro games, retro collectors, and then text adventures were a niche anyway. Back in the day. So that's even smaller.
I've watched a couple of your live streams with them. I've joined in, but I've not been much use or help. which I do apologise.
No, it's fine. It's the watching, and sometimes it's just the tuning out. Do you know what I mean? You log on and you're just tuning out. It's almost like watching a book to some extent. So yeah,
I'll go with that.
Yeah. Okay, that's 2 hours long, so I think we'll sign off now. Call it a day.
Well, as I said, mate, it's been an absolute pleasure being on the channel with you.
No, I'm glad you've enjoyed it.
See it finally come to what's the word?
Fruition.
That's it, fruition. To see it finally come.
Yeah. And it's nice not to think about too much what you're not playing a game and having to think of something to say while you're doing it. You know, you're just conversing with other people, and
that's why I film my stuff after in commentary.
Yes, that makes sense. That does make sense. So yeah, okay. Well, thanks everyone. Thanks. Cheers, James.
Yeah, thanks for everyone who joined the conversation and that.
Yeah. No,
Much love to the gaming community.
Yeah, I agree totally. And you see, you're better at finishing videos than I am. I waffle, and you've got like a succinct statement that says, "Yes, that's the end," and then there's me going, "And yes, I think it's at 2 hours." So, you know what I mean? It's like, I need to practice that. But yeah, thanks everyone, and see you next time. And now I've got to work out how to end this stream. But yeah,
Do you want me to log out for you?
You can do, yeah.
Anyway, guys, take it easy. Rich, been a pleasure.
Yeah, see you later. Oh, there we go. Yeah, cool. Thanks, everyone. Yeah, we're going to do one pretty soon again. I'm not sure when. Maybe including beers next time, but I don't think I need them because I'm high as a kite on adrenaline at the moment. But yeah, cheers for that. And we'll see you next time. Take care. This is clicking the end broadcast now, so let's see what happens. Thanks, everyone. Bye.